We stood on the rooftop of our house, the warm rays of the setting sun casting a golden hue over everything. It was our 5th anniversary, a milestone that should have been marked by joy and celebration. Yet as I gazed at Emily, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Once filled with love and warmth, her eyes now seemed distant and preoccupied, as if I no longer existed in her world. "Are you okay?" I asked, trying to mask my concern with a gentle tone. She turned to me with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "I'm fine, just a little tired from work," she replied, brushing off my worry. But her words did little to quell the unease growing inside me. Over the past few weeks I have noticed subtle changes in her behavior. She was often distracted, spending more time on her phone and less time with me. Our conversations had become superficial, lacking the depth and connection we once shared. A week later, on an ordinary Tuesday evening, my suspicions found their first concrete evidence. I arrived home early from work, eager to surprise Emily with dinner. As I walked into the living room, I saw her phone light up with a message. Glancing at the screen, I read a brief but telling text from someone named David. "Thank you for a wonderful evening. Looking forward to tomorrow." My heart pounded in my chest as I tried to process what I had just seen. Who was David, and what kind of evening had he shared with my wife? The questions swirled in my mind, each one more painful than the last. I felt a wave of nausea and betrayal, but I needed to be sure before confronting her. The next few days were a blur of anxiety and doubt. I observed Emily more closely, noting the way she seemed to light up when her phone buzzed, and the way she quickly put it away when I entered the room. Each small gesture felt like a dagger, confirming my worst fears. Determined to uncover the truth, I decided to follow her after work. One evening, I discreetly tailed her car as she drove across town to a high-end restaurant. From a distance I watched as she entered the lavish establishment, her face lighting up with a smile I hadn't seen in months. She was greeted by a tall, confident man, David, I presumed, who enveloped her in an embrace that spoke volumes. The sight was a punch to the gut, a confirmation of everything I had feared. Emily was cheating on me, and the man she was cheating with was everything I was not, wealthy, self-assured, and unapologetically bold. That night I confronted her. I waited until she returned home, her face flushed with the excitement of her secret rendezvous. When she walked through the door, I stood in the hallway, my expression a mix of hurt and resolve. "We need to talk," I said, my voice trembling despite my best efforts to stay calm. Emily froze, the color draining from her face. She knew that I knew. "Who is David?" I asked the question hanging heavy in the air. For a moment she looked like she might deny it, but then something in her broke. She slumped against the wall, tears welling in her eyes. He's someone who can give me what you can't, Michael," she confessed, her voice barely a whisper. "Security, luxury, a life without financial worries." Her words were a knife to the heart. We had always managed and always found a way to make ends meet, but it was clear that for Emily, our love wasn't enough to fill the void of material desire. The following weeks were a painful blur of lawyers and paperwork. Our divorce was swift and silent, each of us eager to escape the broken remnants of our marriage. Emily moved in with David, leaving me in the house that now felt like a hollow shell. But life has a way of surprising us. Determined to rebuild, I threw myself into my work, exploring new opportunities and investing in promising ventures. Over the years, my hard work paid off in ways I could never have imagined. I became a successful entrepreneur, my investments bringing in substantial wealth. Then, an unexpected windfall changed everything. A distant relative I barely knew passed away, leaving me a considerable inheritance. Suddenly, I was not just wealthy, I was a millionaire. With my newfound status, I decided to return to our hometown, a place filled with memories both bitter and sweet. I wanted to show Emily and perhaps myself how far I had come. The first thing I did was buy a Bugatti, a symbol of my success and independence. It was a sleek, powerful car, a testament to my journey from heartbreak to triumph. And on a sunny afternoon I drove that Bugatti to the house where Emily now lived with David. As I pulled up to the curb, I felt a strange mix of emotions. The house was a grand mansion, a far cry from the modest home we once shared. I stepped out of the car and walked to the front door, my heart pounding with anticipation. When Emily opened the door, her eyes widened in shock. For a moment we just stood there, staring at each other. She looked different, older, warier, as if the life she had chosen had taken its toll. "Michael?" she whispered, her voice filled with disbelief. "Hello, Emily," I said, my voice steady. "It's been a while." As we stood on the doorstep, the past and present collided in a whirlwind of memories and emotions. This was the beginning of a new chapter, one where I was no longer the man she left behind, but a man who had found his way, his success. And in that moment I realized that I had finally moved on. The sun was shining brightly as I stepped out of my Bugatti, the sleek, polished surface reflecting the grand mansion that stood before me. This was the house where Emily now lived with David, a far cry from the modest home we once shared. As I approached the door, my heart raced with a mix of anticipation and trepidation. I knocked, and within moments the door swung open. Emily stood there, her expression shifting from surprise to shock as she took in the sight of me. For a moment we just stared at each other, the weight of our shared past hanging heavily in the air. "Michael?" she whispered, her voice trembling. "Hello, Emily," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "It's been a while." She stepped back, allowing me to enter. The interior of the house was as luxurious as I had imagined, filled with expensive furniture and tasteful decor. It was clear that David's wealth had afforded them a lifestyle Emily had always craved. We moved to the living room, where Emily motioned for me to sit. I chose a chair opposite her, maintaining a physical distance that mirrored the emotional chasm between us. "You look different," she said, her eyes scanning me. "I suppose I am," I replied. "A lot has changed since we last saw each other." She nodded, her gaze dropping to her hands. "I heard about your success. You've done well for yourself." "Yes," I said, my tone neutral. "And you? How have you been?" Emily hesitated, her expression a mix of pride and something else. Regret, perhaps. "Life with David has been different. It's everything I thought I wanted." "But," I prompted, sensing the unspoken words. "But it's not what I imagined," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "He provides everything. Money, luxury, security, but it's a cold, empty existence. He's not the man I thought he was." Her confession hung in the air, a stark contrast to the life she had envisioned. I felt a pang of sympathy for her, despite everything that had happened between us. "Why are you here, Michael?" she asked, her eyes searching mine. "I wanted to see you," I said honestly. "I wanted you to see how far I've come, to know that I'm okay, and maybe to find some closure." Emily looked away, tears welling in her eyes. "I'm sorry for everything, Michael. I was selfish and short-sighted. I thought money would make me happy, but I lost something far more valuable." We sat in silence for a moment, the weight of her words sinking in. I could see the pain and regret etched into her features, and for the first time I felt a sense of release. "I don't hold any grudges, Emily," I said softly. "What's done is done. We both made choices, and we have to live with them." She looked at me, Her eyes filled with a mix of relief and sorrow. "Thank you, Michael. That means more than you know." I stood up, signaling that our conversation was coming to an end. "Take care of yourself, Emily. I hope you find what you're looking for." As I turned to leave, Emily stood as well, following me to the door. "Michael, wait." I paused, looking back at her. "If you ever need anything, or just want to talk, you know where to find me," she said, her voice sincere. I nodded, a small smile playing on my lips. "I appreciate that. Goodbye, Emily." I walked back to my Bugatti, feeling a sense of closure that I hadn't expected. As I drove away, I realized that I had finally let go of the past. I had confronted the pain and betrayal and emerged stronger and more resilient. The road ahead was clear, and I was ready to embrace whatever came next. I had found success on my terms, and in doing so, I had discovered something far more valuable: my worth. The days following my visit to Emily were a whirlwind of emotions. The confrontation, though painful, had brought a sense of closure I hadn't realized I needed. For the first time in years, I felt truly free from the weight of the past. It was time to embrace the future and explore the possibilities that lay ahead. With my business thriving and my financial situation secure, I decided it was time to invest in something I had always dreamed of: starting my venture capital firm. I wanted to use my experience and resources to help others achieve their dreams, just as I had achieved mine. I began by setting up an office in the heart of the city, a sleek, modern space that reflected my vision for the future. I hired a small team of talented individuals who shared my passion for innovation and entrepreneurship. Together, we worked tirelessly to build the foundation of the firm, reaching out to promising startups and offering them the support they needed to succeed. One of our first investments was in a tech startup founded by a brilliant young entrepreneur named Jake. His company Syntech was developing cutting-edge AI technology that had the potential to revolutionize multiple industries. I was impressed by Jake's vision and determination, seeing a bit of my younger self in him. Over the next few months, Syntech grew rapidly under our guidance. Watching Jake and his team thrive brought me immense satisfaction. It was a reminder of why I had embarked on this journey in the first place: to make a difference and leave a lasting impact. Amidst the excitement of my new venture, I found myself reflecting on my personal life. The closure with Emily had opened my heart to new possibilities, and I began to wonder if it was time to explore the prospect of love once more. One evening I attended a charity gala, an event filled with influential figures from various industries. As I mingled and networked, I noticed a woman standing by the bar, her presence captivating and elegant. She had an air of confidence and grace that immediately drew my attention. I approached her, introducing myself. "Hi, I'm Michael." She turned to me with a warm smile. "Nice to meet you, Michael. I'm Sarah. We spent the evening talking and discovering shared interests and passions." Sarah was a successful architect with a deep love for design and innovation. Our conversation flowed effortlessly, and I felt an instant connection with her, something I hadn't felt in a long time. As the night drew to a close, I found myself reluctant to leave. "Would you like to have dinner sometime?" I asked, hopeful. Sarah smiled, her eyes sparkling. "I'd love that, Michael." In the weeks that followed, Sarah and I grew closer. Our dinners turned into long walks in the park, late-night conversations, and shared dreams for the future. She was a breath of fresh air, her positivity and warmth bringing a new light into my life. One afternoon, as we strolled through a quiet garden, I shared my journey with her: the heartbreak, the rebuilding, and the confrontation with Emily. Sarah listened intently, her hand gently squeezing mine. "You've been through so much," she said softly, "but look at all you've accomplished." "You're an inspiration, Michael," Her words touched me deeply. With Sarah, I felt understood and appreciated for who I had become, not just for what I had achieved. As our relationship blossomed, I introduced her to my work and the ventures I was passionate about. Sarah's architectural expertise brought a new perspective to our projects, and her creative insights were invaluable. We became partners in both life and business, our bond growing stronger with each passing day. One evening, as we sat on the balcony of my penthouse, overlooking the city lights, I turned to Sarah, feeling a profound sense of gratitude and love. "Sarah," I began, taking her hand in mine, "you've brought so much joy and meaning into my life."
Future without you.
She smiled, her eyes filled with emotion. "I feel the same way, Michael." At that moment, I knew that my journey had come full circle. From the depths of betrayal and heartbreak, I had risen to new heights, finding success, purpose, and love. The past was behind me, and the future was bright, filled with endless possibilities. As I looked into Sarah's eyes, I realized that this was just the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with hope, adventure, and the promise of a life well lived. The months following my reunion with Emily and the blossoming of my relationship with Sarah were some of the most fulfilling of my life. My venture capital firm was thriving, Syntech was making waves in the tech industry, and Sarah and I were building a future together. It seemed like everything was finally falling into place. One crisp autumn morning, I received a call that would once again change the course of my life. It was from a law firm in New York, representing the estate of a distant relative I barely knew. They informed me that I had been named the sole beneficiary of a substantial inheritance. Stunned, I listened as they detailed the bequest. A vast estate in the countryside, a significant sum of money, and several valuable investments. The relative, a reclusive uncle I had met only once at a family reunion, had passed away, leaving his fortune to me. The news was overwhelming. I had already achieved financial success, but this inheritance was on a different scale. After discussing it with Sarah, we decided to visit the estate to understand the full extent of what had been left to me. We drove out to the countryside, the landscape gradually changing from urban sprawl to rolling hills and lush greenery. As we approached the estate, I couldn't help but marvel at its grandeur. The mansion was an architectural masterpiece, surrounded by acres of meticulously maintained gardens and scenic views. We were greeted by the estate's caretaker, Mr. Thompson, an elderly gentleman who had served my uncle for decades. He gave us a tour, explaining the history of the property and my uncle's various philanthropic endeavors. It became clear that my uncle had been a man of vision and generosity, qualities I aspired to emulate. As we walked through the halls of the mansion, I felt a strange connection to this place. It was more than just a property. It was a legacy, a testament to a life well lived. In the library, I found journals and letters that provided glimpses into my uncle's thoughts and dreams. His words resonated with me, inspiring me to think about how I could use this newfound wealth to make a positive impact. Returning to the city, Sarah and I discussed our plans for the estate. We decided to preserve its beauty and historical significance while opening it to the public for cultural and educational events. It would become a center for innovation and learning, a place where aspiring entrepreneurs and creatives could come together to share ideas and build their futures. With the resources from the inheritance, we expanded our venture capital firm, creating new programs to support startups and small businesses. We established scholarships and grants for underprivileged students, honoring my uncle's legacy of generosity and commitment to making the world a better place. One evening, as we sat on the porch of the mansion, watching the sunset over the rolling hills, Sarah turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "You know, Michael," she said, "everything you've been through, all the hardships and triumphs, have led you to this moment. Your uncle saw something in you, something that made him trust you with his legacy. I think he knew you would do something remarkable with it." I smiled, squeezing her hand. "I hope so. I want to make a difference, to create something that lasts. And with you by my side, I know we can achieve anything." Our days at the estate were filled with purpose and joy. We hosted events, mentored young entrepreneurs, and watched as our vision for the future began to take shape. The mansion, once a symbol of isolation, became a beacon of hope and inspiration. Life has a way of surprising us, of leading us down paths we never expected. The inheritance from my uncle was not just a financial windfall. It was a catalyst for change, an opportunity to build a legacy that would endure long after I was gone. As Sarah and I stood together, looking out over the beautiful landscape that was now a part of our lives, I felt a profound sense of fulfillment. I had found love, success, and purpose, all of which seemed impossible in the darkest days of my past. The future was bright, and for the first time, I truly believed that anything was possible. With Sarah by my side and a world of opportunities before us, I was ready to embrace whatever came next, confident that together we could create a lasting legacy that would inspire generations to come. Life at the estate was idyllic, and for a time it seemed like nothing could disturb our newfound peace. But life, as I had learned, is full of unexpected twists. It was a crisp winter morning when the first sign of trouble emerged. I was in my office at the estate, reviewing potential investments when my phone rang. It was Jake, the founder of Syntech. His voice was tense, filled with a worry I had never heard from him before. "Michael, we have a problem," he said, cutting straight to the point. "What's going on?" I asked, my heart sinking. "We've discovered a serious breach in our security. Sensitive information has been leaked, and it looks like it was an inside job." My mind raced, trying to grasp the implications. Syntech was one of our most promising investments, and a security breach could be catastrophic. "How bad is it?" I asked, already fearing the worst. "Bad," Jake replied. "We're still assessing the damage, but it's clear that someone with access to critical systems is involved. We need to find out who it is and how much they've compromised." I assured Jake that I would do everything in my power to help and immediately called an emergency meeting with my team. We brought in cybersecurity experts to investigate the breach and secure our systems. The atmosphere in the office was tense, everyone acutely aware of the stakes. Days turned into weeks as we delved into the investigation. The more we uncovered, the clearer it became that this was no ordinary breach. The perpetrator was highly skilled, covering their tracks with precision. However, our experts finally managed to trace the intrusion back to a single source, an employee named Karen, who had recently joined the company. I couldn't believe it. Karen had seemed like a dedicated, hard-working member of the team. I decided to confront her personally, hoping to understand why she had betrayed us. When I called Karen into my office, she appeared nervous but maintained her composure. I looked her in the eyes, searching for any sign of remorse. "Karen, we've discovered that you're behind the security breach," I said, my voice firm but calm. "Why did you do it?" She hesitated, her eyes darting around the room as if searching for an escape. Finally she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. I was approached by someone who offered me a lot of money. I was in debt, and I didn't see any other way out." "Who approached you?" I asked, trying to keep my anger in check. "A man named David," she confessed, her voice trembling. "He said he needed the information and that no one would get hurt." The name hit me like a punch to the gut. David, Emily's lover, the man she had left me for. The realization that he was behind this betrayal was almost too much to bear. It felt like my past had come back to haunt me in the most insidious way possible. I thanked Karen for her honesty and informed her that she would be facing legal consequences for her actions. After she left, I sat at my desk, my mind racing. David had not only taken Emily from me, but was now attempting to sabotage my business. I knew I had to confront him. I couldn't let this attack go unanswered. I called Sarah and explained the situation, her supportive presence a comforting balm amidst the chaos. "Do you want me to come with you?" she asked, her concern evident. "No," I replied. "I need to handle this on my own, but thank you." I drove to the city, my thoughts a turbulent mix of anger and determination. I had no idea what David's endgame was, but I was determined to put an end to his schemes. When I arrived at David's office, I was met with a cold, calculated smile. He seemed unfazed by my presence, as if he had been expecting me. "Michael, what a surprise," he said, his tone dripping with insincerity. "I know what you've done, David," I replied, my voice steady. "You orchestrated the breach at Syntech and used Karen to do your dirty work." His smile widened, a glint of malice in his eyes. "You always were quick to catch on. But tell me, what are you going to do about it?" "I'm going to make sure you face the consequences of your actions," I said, stepping closer. "You've crossed a line and I won't let you get away with it." David's expression hardened, the smugness giving way to something darker. "You don't scare me, Michael. I've worked too hard to let you or anyone else stand in my way." Our confrontation was cut short by the arrival of security, who escorted me out of the building. As I left, I knew this battle was far from over. David had declared war, and I would need all my resources and resilience to fight back. Back at the estate, I regrouped with my team and outlined a plan to safeguard our investments and bring David to justice. The fight ahead would be difficult, but I was more determined than ever to protect what I had built. Sarah stood by my side, her unwavering support giving me the strength I needed. Together we prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead, confident that no matter the odds we would emerge victorious. The future was uncertain, but I was ready. David had underestimated me once before, and he would soon learn that I was not the same man he had betrayed. This time, I was prepared to fight back with everything I had. The days that followed my confrontation with David were a blur of strategy meetings, legal consultations, and cybersecurity briefings. It became clear that David was not just a petty saboteur. He was a calculated and ruthless adversary. My team and I knew we had to be equally relentless if we were to protect our investments and bring him to justice. Sarah was my rock through this tumultuous time. Her unwavering support and sharp insights were invaluable. We spent countless hours brainstorming, developing contingency plans, and shoring up our defenses. Her presence was a constant reminder of what I was fighting for, not just my business, but the future we were building together. Our priority was to secure Syntech and reassure our stakeholders that we were in control. We implemented stringent security protocols, brought in top-tier cybersecurity experts, and communicated transparently with our investors. Jake and his team worked tirelessly to ensure their technology was protected, their dedication never wavering despite the looming threat. Next, we focused on gathering evidence against David. We hired a private investigator to dig into his background, uncovering a trail of unethical practices and shady dealings. It became clear that David had built his empire on manipulation and deceit, exploiting those around him for his gain. This information would be crucial in our efforts to hold him accountable. One evening, as Sarah and I reviewed the latest reports in my office at the estate, the phone rang. It was Jake. "Michael, we've found something," he said, his voice urgent. Our forensic team uncovered a series of encrypted emails between Karen and David. They detail his instructions and payments, clear evidence of his involvement. "That's excellent news," I replied, feeling a surge of hope. "Forward everything to our legal team. This could be the breakthrough we need." With this new evidence in hand, our lawyers began building a case against David. We filed a lawsuit accusing him of corporate espionage, fraud, and other charges. The legal battle would be long and arduous, but we were determined to see it through. As the lawsuit progressed, the media caught wind of the story. Headlines splashed across newspapers and online platforms, painting David as the villain and our firm as the resilient underdog fighting back. The public support was overwhelming, bolstering our resolve. But David was not one to back down easily. He responded with counterclaims, attempting to discredit me and my team. His lawyers were aggressive, his tactics ruthless. The courtroom became a battleground, each side presenting evidence, calling witnesses, and making impassioned arguments. Through it all, Sarah remained by my side. Her strength and determination were a constant source of inspiration. We attended every court session together, our united front a testament to our commitment to justice. One particularly grueling day in court, as David's lawyers attempted to undermine our case, I glanced over at Sarah. She met my gaze, her eyes filled with unwavering confidence. At that moment I knew we would prevail, no matter the obstacles. Our legal team presented the encrypted emails as the cornerstone of our case. The evidence was damning, painting a clear picture of David's malicious intent and systematic sabotage. The courtroom buzzed with tension as our lawyers laid out the intricate web of deceit David had spun. Finally, after weeks of intense litigation, the judge delivered the verdict. David was found guilty of all charges. The relief was palpable, a weight lifted from our shoulders. Justice had been served, and David would face the consequences of his actions. The victory was bittersweet. While we had won the legal battle, the ordeal had taken its toll. But it also reaffirmed our strength, our resilience, and our commitment to doing what was right. In the aftermath, our firm emerged stronger than ever. The support from our investors and the public grew, and our reputation for integrity and perseverance was solidified. We continued to support Syntech and other startups, driving innovation and creating opportunities for those who dared to dream. As Sarah and I stood on the balcony of the estate one evening, watching the sunset over the rolling hills, I felt a profound sense of accomplishment. We had faced adversity and emerged victorious, not just in the courtroom, but in life. "Sarah," I said, turning to her, "we did it. We protected everything we've worked for, and we've come out stronger on the other side." She smiled, her eyes reflecting the golden hues of the sunset. "Yes, Michael, and this is just the beginning. Together, we can achieve anything." Her words were a promise, a testament to the bond we had forged through trials and triumphs. The future was bright, filled with endless possibilities. With Sarah by my side, I was ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead, confident that together we could overcome anything. The battle had been won, but the journey was far from over. As we looked out over the beautiful landscape that was now a part of our lives, I knew that our story was just beginning. And for the first time I felt truly at peace, ready to face whatever came next with courage and hope. The courtroom victory against David was a turning point, but it was also a reminder of the fragility of success. The ordeal had tested our limits both personally and professionally, and had underscored the importance of vigilance and resilience. With the legal battle behind us, it was time to rebuild and expand, to transform the adversity we had faced into an opportunity for growth.
Our first task was to stabilize Syntech and reassure our stakeholders that the company was secure and moving forward.
Jake and his team redoubled their efforts, launching new products and securing key partnerships. The support from our investors was stronger than ever. Their faith in us was reaffirmed by our steadfastness in the face of adversity. With Syntec on solid ground, I turned my attention to the broader scope of our venture capital firm. The legal battle had highlighted the vulnerabilities within our organization, prompting us to implement comprehensive security measures and stricter protocols. We hired additional cybersecurity experts, conducted thorough audits, and fostered a culture of transparency and accountability. Sarah played a crucial role in this process, her architectural background providing a unique perspective on structural integrity and design. Together, we overhauled our systems, ensuring that our foundation was rock solid and capable of withstanding any future threats. As we worked on fortifying our existing investments, we also sought new expansion opportunities. Our victory against David had garnered significant media attention, positioning us as a formidable and resilient firm. This newfound visibility attracted a wave of ambitious entrepreneurs eager to collaborate with us. One such entrepreneur was Laura, a passionate and visionary founder of an eco-friendly startup called GreenWave. Her company was developing innovative solutions for sustainable energy and waste management, and her dedication to environmental sustainability resonated deeply with me. Laura's pitch was compelling, and I saw immense potential in her ideas. We decided to invest in GreenWave, providing them with the resources and support needed to scale their operations. Sarah and I visited their facilities, marveling at the cutting-edge technology and the team's unwavering commitment to making a positive impact on the planet. It was inspiring to see their passion and drive, reminding me of the early days of my entrepreneurial journey. As GreenWave grew, so did our involvement in other ventures. We expanded our portfolio to include startups focused on healthcare, education, and technology, each with the potential to create significant social and economic value. Our firm became known not only for its financial acumen, but also for its dedication to fostering innovation and positive change. Meanwhile, the estate continued to evolve into a hub of creativity and collaboration. We hosted workshops, conferences, and networking events, bringing together entrepreneurs, investors, and thought leaders from various industries. The mansion, once a symbol of isolation, now buzzed with energy and possibility. One evening, as Sarah and I walked through the gardens admiring the progress we had made, she turned to me with a thoughtful expression.
As I stood for
"Michael, I've been thinking," she began. "What if we established a foundation, something that goes beyond venture capital and focuses on broader societal impact?" I looked at her, intrigued. "What do you have in mind?" "A foundation that supports not only startups but also community projects, educational initiatives, and environmental conservation efforts," she explained. "We could use our resources and network to address some of the pressing issues facing our world." Her idea was brilliant, aligning perfectly with our shared values and vision. We began laying the groundwork for the foundation, outlining its mission and goals. The Michael and Sarah Foundation would be dedicated to empowering individuals and communities, fostering innovation, and promoting sustainable development. With the foundation established, we launched our first major initiative, a scholarship program for underprivileged students pursuing careers in STEM fields. The response was overwhelming, and we were able to provide numerous scholarships, opening doors of opportunity for talented young minds. As the foundation grew, we expanded our efforts to include grants for environmental conservation projects, funding for healthcare innovations, and support for educational programs in underserved communities. The impact of our work was profound, and it filled us with a sense of purpose and fulfillment. Through it all, Sarah and I remained a united front, our partnership growing stronger with each passing day. We faced challenges together, celebrated victories together, and dreamed of a future where our efforts would leave a lasting legacy. One evening, as we sat on the balcony of the estate, watching the sunset over the rolling hills, I turned to Sarah, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "Sarah, we've come so far," I said, taking her hand, "and we've achieved so much. I can't imagine doing any of this without you." She smiled, her eyes reflecting the golden hues of the sunset. "Nor can I, Michael. Together we've built something truly special, and this is just the beginning." Her words echoed the sentiment I felt in my heart. Our journey was far from over, and the future was filled with endless possibilities. With Sarah by my side and our foundation making a tangible difference in the world, I knew that we were on the path to creating a legacy that would endure for generations to come. As the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, I felt a profound sense of peace and fulfillment. The battles we had fought, the challenges we had overcome, and the dreams we had realized were all part of a greater purpose. The future was bright, and I was ready to embrace it with open arms, confident that together Sarah and I could achieve anything. The Michael and Sarah Foundation continued to grow, touching lives and fostering innovation across various fields. Our ventures were thriving, and our personal life was filled with joy and purpose. Yet, as often happens in life, the past has a way of re-emerging when least expected. One afternoon, as Sarah and I were preparing for a major foundation event, a gala to celebrate the achievements of our scholarship recipients, I received an unexpected message. It was from Emily. Seeing her name on my phone screen after all these years was like a jolt to my system. "Michael, I need to talk to you. It's urgent, please." My first instinct was to ignore it, to leave the past where it belonged. But curiosity and a sense of unresolved history compelled me to reply. I arranged to meet her at a quiet cafe in the city, feeling a mixture of apprehension and curiosity. When I arrived, Emily was already seated, looking noticeably older and more worn than I remembered. Her once vibrant eyes now carried a hint of sadness and regret. As I approached, she stood and gave a small, tentative smile. "Michael," she greeted, her voice soft and hesitant. "Emily," I replied, taking a seat opposite her. "What's so urgent that you needed to see me?" She took a deep breath, her hands trembling slightly as she clasped them together. "I know I'm the last person you want to see, and I don't deserve your time. But I need your help. It's about David." The mention of David's name immediately put me on edge. "What about him?" "He's in trouble," she said, her voice breaking. "After the lawsuit and his conviction, things went downhill fast. He's lost everything, and now he's involved with some very dangerous people. I'm afraid for his life, and I don't know where else to turn." I felt a surge of conflicting emotions, anger, pity, and a lingering sense of betrayal. David had caused so much harm, yet here was Emily seeking my help to save him. Part of me wanted to walk away, to let them deal with the consequences of their actions. But another part of me, the part that remembered the love we once shared, couldn't ignore her plea. "Emily, after everything he's done, why should I help him?" I asked, my voice tinged with bitterness. Tears welled up in her eyes. "Because I'm asking you, Michael. I know I've made terrible mistakes, and I don't deserve your forgiveness. But David is in over his head, and I don't know who else can help." I sighed, rubbing my temples as I considered her words. Helping David was the last thing I wanted to do, but Emily's desperation and genuine fear were hard to ignore. "All right," I finally said. "I'll see what I can do. But I'm not making any promises." She nodded, relief washing over her face. "Thank you, Michael. I can't tell you how much this means to me." I left the cafe feeling conflicted but resolute. I needed to understand the full extent of David's situation before deciding how to proceed. I contacted the private investigator we had previously employed, instructing him to look into David's current circumstances. Over the next few days, the investigator's reports painted a grim picture. David had fallen from grace, his once thriving empire reduced to ruins. Desperate to regain his footing, he had become entangled with a dangerous criminal syndicate, putting his life at risk. With this information in hand, I sat down with Sarah to discuss the situation. She listened intently, her expression thoughtful. "Michael," she said softly, "I know this is a difficult decision. David hurt you deeply, and he deserves to face the consequences of his actions. But sometimes extending a hand to those who have wronged us can be a powerful act of compassion and strength." Her words resonated with me, echoing the values we had built our foundation upon. Helping David might not change the past, but it could prevent further tragedy and perhaps bring some closure to this painful chapter of my life. With Sarah's support, I reached out to my network, leveraging my connections to arrange a meeting with the syndicate leaders. It was a risky move, but I was determined to negotiate David's release and ensure his safety. The meeting took place in a dimly lit warehouse on the outskirts of the city. The air was thick with tension as I faced the syndicate leader, a stern-faced man named Victor. "Mr. Thompson," Victor began, his voice cold and measured. "To what do we owe the pleasure?" "I'm here to discuss David," I replied, maintaining a calm demeanor. "I understand he's indebted to you, but I'm willing to negotiate a settlement to ensure his safety." Victor eyed me skeptically. "And why would you do that? What's he to you?" "Let's just say I have my reasons," I said, meeting his gaze. "I can offer a substantial sum to cover his debts and ensure he's no longer your problem." After a tense negotiation, Victor agreed to my terms, though not without extracting a steep price. It was a significant financial hit, but it was worth it to resolve this lingering issue and ensure David's safety. I met with David afterward, the sight of him a stark reminder of how far he had fallen. He looked haggard and defeated, a shadow of the man who had once been my adversary. "Michael," he said, his voice barely a whisper, "I don't know what to say." "You don't need to say anything," I replied. "Just stay out of trouble and make something of this second chance." As I walked away, I felt a sense of closure wash over me. Helping David had been the right thing to do, not just for him, but for myself. It was a testament to the growth and strength I had found through the trials I had faced. Returning to the estate, I embraced Sarah, grateful for her wisdom and support. We had faced many challenges together, and I knew there would be more to come. But with each step, we were building a legacy of compassion, resilience, and hope. The unexpected reunion with Emily and the ordeal with David reminded me that life is full of twists and turns. But no matter what challenges arose, I was confident that together with Sarah we could navigate them and continue to create a positive impact on the world around us. With the resolution of David's situation and the unexpected reunion with Emily behind us, Sarah and I found ourselves at a crossroads, contemplating the next chapter of our lives. The foundation we had built was thriving, our ventures were flourishing, and our relationship had grown stronger through every trial and triumph. As we sat in the garden of the estate one evening, sipping tea and watching the stars twinkle overhead, Sarah turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "Michael, I've been thinking," she began, her voice soft but determined. "We've accomplished so much together, but I can't help but feel that there's still more we can do. What if we expanded our foundation's reach and took on larger, more ambitious projects?" I listened intently, intrigued by her proposal. "What kind of projects do you have in mind?" She leaned forward, her eyes shining with excitement. "I've been researching sustainable development initiatives and renewable energy projects. With our resources and expertise, we could make a significant impact on a global scale." Her vision was bold, but it resonated deeply with me. The foundation had already made a difference in the lives of many, but there was still so much untapped potential waiting to be unleashed. "I love the idea, Sarah," I said, feeling a surge of inspiration. "Let's explore it further and see what opportunities we can uncover." In the days that followed, Sarah and I dove headfirst into researching and planning our new initiatives. We assembled a team of experts in renewable energy, environmental conservation, and sustainable development, tapping into our network to gather insights and expertise. One project that particularly captured our attention was a solar energy initiative in rural communities across Africa. Access to electricity was a critical issue in many parts of the continent, hindering economic development and quality of life. We saw an opportunity to make a tangible difference by providing renewable energy solutions to underserved communities. With the support of our team, we developed a comprehensive plan to install solar panels and build infrastructure to distribute clean energy to remote villages. The project would not only provide electricity but also create jobs, stimulate local economies, and reduce reliance on fossil fuels. As we presented our proposal to potential partners and stakeholders, the response was overwhelmingly positive. Governments, NGOs, and philanthropic organizations expressed interest in collaborating with us, recognizing the transformative potential of our initiative. One evening, as Sarah and I celebrated the progress we had made over dinner, I couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude for the journey we had embarked on together. "Sarah," I began, taking her hand in mine, "I'm so grateful for everything we've achieved together. You've been my rock through every challenge and my partner in every success. I couldn't imagine doing any of this without you." She smiled, her eyes sparkling with affection. "And I couldn't imagine doing it without you, Michael. Together we're unstoppable." Her words filled me with a sense of purpose and determination. As we looked ahead to the future, I knew that our journey was far from over. There were still challenges to overcome, dreams to pursue, and lives to touch. With Sarah by my side, I was ready to embark on this new chapter, confident that together we could make a difference in the world and leave a legacy that would endure for generations to come. As we toasted to the future, I felt a profound sense of optimism and excitement. The road ahead would be filled with twists and turns, but with each step we would be guided by our shared values, our unwavering commitment to making a positive impact, and the boundless love that had brought us together. Together, we would write the next chapter of our story, a chapter filled with hope, purpose, and endless possibilities. And as we faced the challenges and celebrated the victories that lay ahead, I knew that our journey would be nothing short of extraordinary. As Sarah and I delved deeper into our new initiatives with the Foundation, I found myself reflecting on the journey that had led us to this point. It had been a path filled with challenges, triumphs, and unexpected twists, but through it all, one constant remained: our unwavering commitment to making a positive impact on the world. One afternoon, as I sat in my office at the estate, surrounded by stacks of papers and plans for our latest projects, I couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude for everything that had brought us here. From the darkest moments of betrayal and loss to the brightest moments of love and success, each experience has shaped us into the people we are today. Sarah joined me in the office, her presence a welcome interruption to my thoughts. She smiled as she entered, carrying a tray of tea and biscuits. "Taking a break?" she asked, setting the tray down on my desk. I nodded, grateful for the chance to pause and reflect. "Just thinking about everything that's happened." Sarah took a seat opposite me, her expression thoughtful. "It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?" "It has," I agreed, reaching for a biscuit. "And I couldn't have asked for a better partner to share it with." Her smile warmed my heart, reminding me once again of the depth of our connection. Together we had weathered every storm and celebrated every victory, growing stronger with each challenge we faced. As we sipped our tea and nibbled on biscuits, we reminisced about the pivotal moments of our journey, the founding of our venture capital firm, the creation of the foundation, and the countless memories we had shared along the way. "I never imagined our lives would take this path," Sarah mused, her gaze drifting to the window overlooking the garden. "But I wouldn't change a single moment of it." "Neither would I," said, reaching across the desk to take her hand in mine. "Every trial, every triumph has brought us closer together and shaped us into the people we are today." Our conversation turned to the future, to the projects we were passionate about and the impact we hoped to make. The road ahead was filled with challenges and uncertainties, but with each other's support I knew we could overcome anything. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the estate, I felt a profound sense of gratitude wash over me. I am grateful for Sarah, for our foundation, and for the opportunity to make a difference in the world. "Thank you, Sarah," I said, my voice filled with emotion. "For everything—" She squeezed my hand, her eyes shining with love and gratitude. "Thank you, Michael, for being my partner, my confidant, and my greatest source of strength." At that moment, surrounded by the quiet beauty of the estate and the boundless love of my partner, I knew that no matter what the future holds, we would face it together, with gratitude in our hearts and hope in our souls. As we watched the sun dip below the horizon, casting a kaleidoscope of colors across the sky, I felt a sense of peace settle over me. Our journey was far from over, but as long as we had each other, I knew we could weather any storm and continue to make a difference in the world. With gratitude as our guide and love as our compass, we would write the next chapter of our story, a chapter filled with purpose, passion, and endless possibilities. And as we faced the challenges and celebrated the victories that lay ahead, I knew that our journey would be nothing short of extraordinary. As Sarah and I continued to work on our foundation's initiatives and expand our impact, we found ourselves reflecting on the legacy we hoped to leave behind. Our journey together had been filled with ups and downs, challenges and triumphs, but through it all, our commitment to making a positive difference in the world remained unwavering. One morning, as we sat in the garden of the estate, savoring the tranquility of the surroundings, Sarah turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "Michael, have you ever thought about the legacy we're building?" she asked, her voice soft but filled with conviction. I nodded, pondering her question. "I suppose I have, in a way. But what do you mean?" Sarah smiled, her eyes alight with passion. "I mean the impact we're having on the world, the lives we're touching, the change we're inspiring. It's not just about the projects we're working on, it's about the values we're instilling, the example we're setting for future generations." Her words resonated deeply with me, reminding me of the greater purpose behind our work. Our foundation was not just about providing resources or implementing projects. It was about fostering a legacy of compassion, resilience, and hope. As our projects grow and evolve, so too does our responsibility to ensure that our legacy endures, I said, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. We have an opportunity to leave behind a lasting impact to empower others to continue the work we've started. Sarah nodded, her gaze steady. "Exactly, and that's why I think it's important for us to document our journey, to share our experiences and insights with others who may be inspired to follow in our footsteps." Her suggestion sparked a new sense of excitement within me. The idea of documenting our journey, of sharing our successes and failures, felt like a natural extension of our mission to inspire and empower others. "Sarah, that's a brilliant idea," I said, feeling a surge of enthusiasm. "Let's start writing our story, capturing the lessons we've learned and the wisdom we've gained along the way. Perhaps it could serve as a blueprint for future generations of change-makers." With that, we set to work. carving out time each day to reflect on our journey, recount the moments that had shaped us, and distill our experiences into lessons that could inspire others. We poured our hearts and souls into the project, channeling our passion for making a difference into every word we wrote. As the pages of our story began to take shape, I felt a profound sense of gratitude for the journey we had embarked on together. From the early days of uncertainty and doubt to the moments of triumph and joy, every experience played a part in shaping the legacy we were creating. And as we looked ahead to the future, to the countless lives we hoped to touch and the impact we aspired to make, I knew that our journey was far from over. With each new chapter we would continue to build on the foundation we had laid, to inspire others to dream big, and to create a world filled with compassion, resilience, and hope. As we sat in the garden, surrounded by the beauty of nature and the warmth of each other's presence, I felt a profound sense of peace settle over me. Our legacy was still unfolding, our story still being written, but with Sarah by my side, I knew that whatever the future held, we would face it together, with courage, conviction, and boundless love. And as we turned our gaze to the horizon where the sun cast its golden rays across the sky, I felt a sense of optimism fill my heart. Our legacy was just beginning, and I couldn't wait to see where the journey would take us next. As Sarah and I continued to work on our foundation's initiatives and document our journey, we found ourselves contemplating the future and the legacy we hoped to leave behind. Our passion for making a positive impact on the world burned brighter than ever, but we knew that our time to actively lead the foundation would eventually come to an end. One evening, as we sat in front of the fireplace in the grand hall of the estate, sipping wine and reflecting on our journey, Sarah broached the topic that had been on both of our minds. "Michael, have you thought about what comes next for the foundation?" she asked, her voice gentle but probing. I nodded, knowing exactly what she was referring to. "Yes, I have. We can't lead the foundation forever, and eventually we'll need to pass the torch to someone else." Sarah smiled, her eyes filled with understanding. "Exactly. And I think it's important for us to start thinking about who will take over when the time comes." Her words resonated deeply with me, reminding me of the responsibility we bore to ensure the continuity and sustainability of the Foundation's mission. We had poured our hearts and souls into building the organization, and we couldn't let it falter when our time to lead inevitably came to an end. "Agreed," I said, setting down my wine glass. "But who do you think would be the right fit to lead the foundation after us?" Sarah leaned forward, her expression thoughtful. "I think we should look for someone who shares our values and vision, someone with a deep commitment to making a positive impact on the world. They should have experience in philanthropy and leadership, as well as a passion for driving change and inspiring others." I nodded, impressed by her clarity and insight. "Those are all important qualities. But where do we begin the search?" Sarah smiled, a hint of mischief dancing in her eyes. "I have an idea." Over the following weeks, Sarah and I began reaching out to our network of colleagues, friends, and fellow philanthropists, seeking recommendations for potential candidates to lead the foundation. We conducted interviews, reviewed resumes, and held discussions with each candidate to assess their suitability for the role. One candidate in particular stood out, a young entrepreneur named Alex, who had a proven track record of success in the tech industry and a passion for social impact. His vision for the foundation aligned closely with ours, and his energy and enthusiasm were contagious. After much deliberation, Sarah and I decided to offer Alex the position of CEO of the foundation. We met with him to extend the offer, and his excitement and gratitude were palpable. "I'm honored and humbled by this opportunity," Alex said, his voice filled with emotion. "I promise to uphold the values and legacy of the foundation, to continue the important work you've started." As we welcomed Alex into the fold, I felt a profound sense of relief and gratitude. With him at the helm, I knew that the foundation would be in capable hands and that our legacy would continue to thrive for years to come. As Sarah and I watched Alex dive headfirst into his new role, we felt a sense of pride and satisfaction wash over us. Our journey with the foundation was far from over, but knowing that we had found the right person to carry on our work filled us with a sense of peace and fulfillment. And as we looked ahead to the future, to the countless lives that would be touched by the Foundation's work, I knew that our legacy was secure. With each passing day, our impact on the world would only grow, a testament to the power of compassion, resilience, and hope. As we sat by the fire, surrounded by the warmth of each other's presence, I felt a profound sense of gratitude for the journey we had embarked on together. Our time leading the Foundation may have come to an end, but our commitment to making a positive impact on the world will never waver. And as we toasted to the future, I knew that the best was yet to come. With Sarah by my side and Alex leading the charge, the Foundation would continue to change lives, inspire hope, and leave a legacy that would endure for generations to come. As Sarah and I stepped back from our leadership roles in the Foundation, passing the torch to Alex, we found ourselves embarking on a new chapter of our lives. While our days were no longer consumed by the day-to-day operations of the organization, our passion for making a positive impact on the world burned as brightly as ever. One morning, as we enjoyed breakfast on the terrace of the estate, Sarah turned to me with a mischievous twinkle in her eye. "Michael, now that we have more free time on our hands, what do you say we embark on a new adventure?" she suggested. I raised an eyebrow, intrigued by her proposal. "What kind of adventure did you have in mind?" Sarah grinned, her excitement palpable. "I was thinking we could travel the world, exploring new cultures, meeting new people, and experiencing everything life has to offer." The idea struck a chord with me, igniting a sense of wanderlust that had long lain dormant within me. The prospect of embarking on a journey of discovery with Sarah by my side filled me with a sense of excitement and anticipation. "I love the idea, Sarah," I said, returning her smile. "Let's make it happen." And so we set about planning our grand adventure, charting a course that would take us to far-flung corners of the globe. From the bustling streets of Tokyo to the serene landscapes of New Zealand, we would immerse ourselves in the beauty and diversity of the world, seeking out new experiences and forging lasting memories together. As we boarded the first flight of our journey bound for Tokyo, I felt a sense of exhilaration wash over me. The world was vast and full of wonders, and we were about to embark on the adventure of a lifetime. Over the months that followed, Sarah and I crisscrossed the globe, each destination more awe-inspiring than the last. We marveled at the ancient temples of Angkor Wat, danced under the stars in Marrakesh, and sailed the pristine waters of the Greek Isles. But amidst the breathtaking landscapes and exhilarating adventures, it was the moments shared with Sarah that I cherished most. Whether we were watching the sunrise over the Serengeti or sharing a meal with locals in a remote village, every experience brought us closer together, deepening our bond and strengthening our love. As our journey drew to a close and we returned to the estate, I couldn't help but feel a profound sense of gratitude for the adventure we had shared. Our travels had opened our eyes to the beauty and diversity of the world, but more importantly, they had reaffirmed the depth of our connection and the strength of our love. As we settled back into life at the estate, I knew that our journey together was far from over. While our days of globe-trotting may have come to an end, our passion for making a positive impact on the world burned as brightly as ever. As we looked ahead to the future, to the countless adventures and experiences that awaited us, I knew that as long as I had Sarah by my side, the next chapter of our lives would be filled with love, laughter, and endless possibilities. After our whirlwind adventures around the world, Sarah and I found ourselves back at the estate, basking in the familiarity of home and the warmth of each other's presence. While our travels had been filled with excitement and discovery, there was something comforting about returning to the place where our journey together had begun. As we settled back into our routine, Sarah and I found ourselves reflecting on the experiences we had shared and the memories we had made. From the bustling streets of Tokyo to the tranquil shores of Bali, each destination had left its mark on us, shaping us in ways we had never imagined. But amidst the excitement of our travels, there was a part of me that had longed for the tranquility and serenity of the estate. It was here, surrounded by the lush gardens and grandeur of the mansion, that I felt most at peace, most at home. One evening, as we sat by the fire in the grand hall, sipping wine and reminiscing about our adventures, Sarah turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "Michael, do you ever miss the excitement of our travels?" she asked, her voice soft but curious. I smiled, reaching for her hand. "Of course I do, Sarah. Our adventures were incredible, and I wouldn't trade them for anything. But there's something special about being back here, surrounded by the beauty and tranquility of home." Sarah nodded, her eyes sparkling with understanding. "I know what you mean. There's a sense of comfort and familiarity here that I've missed." As we sat in companionable silence, the crackling of the fire filling the room with warmth, I felt a profound sense of gratitude wash over me. Our journey together had taken us to the farthest reaches of the globe, but it had also brought us back to the place where our love had blossomed and flourished. And as we looked ahead to the future, to the countless adventures and experiences that awaited us, I knew that no matter where life took us, the estate would always be our anchor, our sanctuary, our home. With Sarah by my side and the memories of our travels still fresh in our minds, I knew that the next chapter of our lives would be filled with love, laughter, and endless possibilities. And as we embraced each other in the glow of the fire, I felt a sense of peace settle over me, knowing that no matter what adventures awaited us, we would face them together with courage, resilience, and boundless love. As Sarah and I settled back into the rhythm of life at the estate, we found ourselves contemplating the next chapter of our journey together. While our adventures around the world had been unforgettable, there was a part of us that longed for something more, a deeper sense of connection, a greater purpose. One afternoon, as we strolled through the gardens hand in hand, Sarah turned to me with a hopeful smile. "Michael, do you ever think about starting a family?" she asked, her voice soft but filled with longing. Her question caught me off guard, stirring emotions I hadn't realized were lying dormant within me. The idea of becoming parents, of sharing the joys and challenges of raising a child together, filled me with a sense of excitement and anticipation. "I do, Sarah," I replied, my voice tinged with emotion. "I've always dreamed of having a family of our own." Her smile widened, her eyes shining with happiness. "Me too, Michael. I've always imagined us as parents guiding and nurturing a child as they grow and learn." As we continued to walk through the gardens, lost in conversation about our hopes and dreams for the future, I felt a sense of clarity and purpose wash over me. Starting a family with Sarah was the next chapter of our journey together, a chapter filled with love, laughter, and the joy of watching our child grow. Over the following months, Sarah and I began preparing for the arrival of our little one, transforming one of the rooms in the mansion into a nursery filled with love and anticipation. We attended parenting classes, read books on child rearing, and sought advice from friends and family who had embarked on this journey before us. And then, one magical evening, Sarah shared the news we had been eagerly awaiting. Their family was about to grow. "Michael, I'm pregnant," she said, her voice trembling with emotion as she held out a positive pregnancy test. Tears filled my eyes as I embraced Sarah, overwhelmed with joy and gratitude. In that moment, surrounded by the beauty of the estate and the love of my partner, I knew that their lives were about to change in ways they had never imagined. As the months passed and Sarah's bump grew, we eagerly awaited the arrival of our little one, counting down the days until their arrival. And then, one beautiful spring morning, our world was forever changed as we welcomed our daughter into the world. As I held our tiny bundle of joy in my arms for the first time, tears of happiness streamed down my cheeks. At that moment, I knew that their lives would never be the same. They were parents now, responsible for nurturing and guiding this precious little soul as they journeyed through life. And as I looked into Sarah's eyes filled with love and wonder, I knew that their family was complete. Together we would embark on this new chapter of their journey, filled with love, laughter, and the joy of watching their daughter grow. And as they embraced the gift of family, I knew that their lives would be forever enriched by the love they shared. As Sarah and I embraced the joy of parenthood, our lives were filled with new adventures, challenges, and countless precious moments with our daughter. From late-night feedings to first smiles and giggles, every milestone brought us closer together and deepened our bond as a family. One evening, as we sat in the nursery, watching our daughter sleep peacefully in her crib, Sarah turned to me with a tender smile. "Michael, do you ever stop to think about how much our lives have changed since she came into our lives?" she asked, her voice soft but filled with wonder. I nodded, feeling a surge of emotion welling up inside me. "All the time, Sarah. Becoming parents has been the greatest gift of our lives." As we sat in companionable silence, bathed in the soft glow of the nightlight, I couldn't help but marvel at the miracle of parenthood. Our daughter had brought so much joy, love, and meaning into our lives, filling our home with laughter and light. But amidst the joy and wonder of parenthood, there were also moments of doubt and uncertainty. Were we doing this right? Were we providing our daughter with everything she needed to thrive? It was a responsibility unlike any other, and it weighed heavily on my mind at times. Sarah must have sensed my unease, for she reached out and took my hand in hers, squeezing it gently. "Michael, we're doing the best we can," she said, her voice filled with reassurance. "And that's all our daughter needs, to know that she's loved, cherished, and supported every step of the way." Her words were like a balm to my soul, easing my worries and reminding me of the power of love and presence in our daughter's life. As long as we were there for her, guiding and supporting her as she grew and learned, everything would be okay. And so, we embraced the journey of parenthood with open hearts and open minds, cherishing every moment with our daughter and reveling in the joy of watching her grow and flourish. As the years passed, our daughter blossomed into a bright, curious, and compassionate young girl, filled with a zest for life and a love for adventure. Together we explored the world around us, embarking on family vacations, celebrating holidays and milestones, and creating memories that would last a lifetime. And through it all, Sarah and I stood side by side, united in our love for each other and our devotion to our daughter. As we looked ahead to the future, to the countless adventures and experiences that awaited us, I knew that as long as we had each other, our family would weather any storm and embrace every joy that life had to offer. As we tucked our daughter into bed that night, I felt a sense of profound gratitude wash over me. Our journey as parents had been filled with ups and downs, challenges and triumphs, but through it all, one thing remained constant: the boundless love that filled our hearts and homes. And as we kissed our daughter goodnight and whispered words of love and encouragement, I knew that our family was blessed beyond measure.